The agenda this week examined how communities are trying to confront homelessness during the pandemic, assess the viability of the NDP's plan for a Green New Deal in the province, and considered what Canada's telecom sector could learn about competition. The agenda's Week in Review begins with our Ontario 2021 budget coverage.
You've been very lucky this past year, borrowing, money at 1.6% on average, which is just historically, historically low rates. I note again that the budget papers say that if interest rates go up even 1 point, that's another $750 million that you're going to have to borrow, and rates are going to be higher going forward. Your budget documents say that too. So again, how concerned should we be about your ability to eventually get us back to balance, which I know you want to do, without raising taxes or massive spending cuts?
Well, interest rates have gone up, but we forecasted those rates to go up, and in the budget document they're there, and they're still historically low, Steve. So we really do have the capacity, the fiscal capacity. What I'm really focused on is today. And we have a once-in-a-century type pandemic. Our job, it's like being not finishing storming the beaches and winning a war. I mean, we have a war against invisible enemy. We've got to get those vaccines. We want to put them in every arm that wants a vaccine, Steve. And I think that also the logistics and the infrastructure to go with that. That's why I announced the $1 billion. It doesn't end there. The contact tracing, but the testing and the rapid testing, so that we can continually invest in making sure that it's safe. And I really think that there's that growth model will work in Ontario. But let me tell you one other thing that we don't really talk much about. Last week, I axed the fax. So the fax machines, and government still has fax machines. So axe the fax, and some people might say you still have fax machines, and that's exactly what I said when I came into government. So, that's a machine like this. You got to put some paper in it. That's the way it works for those who are too young to remember. And we still have that. We can do things a lot smarter in this government. We've proven that we can modernize, that we can digitize, that we can cut red tape, and do it all the while we're increasing funding. Because every time I save $1 on a fax machine, we're putting it right back into healthcare and putting it right back into long-term care and other areas.
I know you don't mean to suggest this, but the smart aleck in me wants to come back with this question anyway. You're not going to get rid of a $33 billion deficit by getting rid of fax machines, right? There's got to be more to it than. There's got to be a lot more to it than that.
Well, absolutely, and that's true. It's very symbolic, and it's in part to signal that we got to change the culture of government. So we have all these digital tools, and people want services and programs when they want it, where they want it. And so let me give you a couple examples. Our Ontario Small Business Grant Program, that's already helped over 100,000 small businesses in Ontario. That we've given them a grant between $10,000 and $20,000. Many have told me that's the difference between keeping the lights on and turning them off. We did that all through one simple website. You could go one simple portal, not a lot of people, just through a website. You could also apply for some of the other programs we already had. We made it simple and easy.
Catherine Fife, you're the official opposition. We'll start with you. Initial reaction to something you just heard in Peter Bethelenfalvy's interview.
Well, listen, I want to say right off the top that we were very encouraged to see that there was some funding for vaccinations. Nobody in this province believes that the vaccination rollout is going well. Businesses, healthcare professionals, educators have said, listen, we need to get this right, and we need to get needles in arms. So $1 billion, hopefully this helps. The race against the variants is real, and we need to make sure that people are kept safe. That said, we would have seen some very strategic investment in keeping people safe that the minister just referenced. For many days now, many months, actually, we've been fighting for paid sick days. And listen, Steve, if people are still going to work sick in Brampton and Peel and Mississauga and KW, then we're not going to get through this third wave.
First of all, I think the whole budget is a swing and a miss, because this was an opportunity to focus on the things that will set Ontario's up for a strong recovery. You know, we first have to deal with the crisis in the pandemic. I agree that the minister says that's the job right now. But once we have everyone vaccinated, we have to look at the economic recovery. And there are key priorities that Ontario families have: investments in education, making sure we don't leave anyone behind, that we close those learning gaps that have occurred because students have been out for a year of disrupted learning. We also, we know that women and racialized groups have been the hardest hit for the pandemic. And where is the specificity in this budget to address those concerns that are obvious? So the missed opportunity is that we could have made a generational investment in childcare. We could have recognized the climate change crisis and made this a recovery that is a green recovery. There are so many aspects to this budget that was very obvious.
Yeah, I just think the government is blind to the reality Ontarians are facing. To think that they've cut $4.8 billion in the next fiscal year at a time when we're going into the third wave of COVID, we're dealing with the fallout from the pandemic. It appears to me that the finance minister left a few chapters of his budget at the printers. They mentioned the climate crisis twice, homelessness twice. Let's face it, Steve, people need support to get through this pandemic, and they're going to need support for economic recovery. We know people need support for mental health. The government doesn't even meet its own annualized projected spending for that. They've cut public education by $790 million next year. They have not put forward a plan for economic recovery that aligns with addressing the climate crisis. And finally, they're not addressing and putting the money we need to into things like supportive housing and other ways of addressing the housing affordability crisis across the province.
Tony, start us off. How bad has COVID-19 been for your business?
It's been absolutely catastrophic, not just business-wise, but personally. What's happened for us is our numbers are so far down, it's crazy. What's worse, more than our numbers being down, is what the Ontario government has done to really ruin the importance of being a hairstylist or a spa technician in Thunder Bay. We are only 4 different businesses that are still closed in the gray zone. So many of my friends and I, we walk around and think, we're almost better off dead than we are alive. We're worth more dead than we are alive, like the movie It's a Wonderful Life. It's sad. My numbers are so far down. I'm down over $70,000 just in the first 3 months of this year. We've only been open for 2 weeks. And what the government proposed today with the new budget of an additional $10,000 to $20,000 doesn't even scrape the surface. It's not going to help us at all. That's not even close to what we were thinking was going to happen.
Okay, Tony, thank you for setting the scene. We'll obviously follow up and find more details as we go along. Michael, how about you? What's your story?
I can echo a lot of what Tony just said. I own Ottawa Special Events. We are an event rental company, so we rent stages and sound and lighting, pipe and drape, tables, chairs. And, with the crushing numbers of public gatherings, it's really hard for us to operate. In 2020, we were down 97%, which equates to over $3 million. And we unfortunately had to lay off our entire staff of 22 people last March. And except for some piecemeal stuff here and there, we haven't been able to bring anybody back yet.
If you're down 97%, how are you even alive at all?
It's a great question. We've been able to negotiate with some of the creditors along the way. And at the same time, too, we've had the odd thing come in. Our landlord, at the time when landlords perhaps weren't being as favorable to small business as others, ours was incredible. Ours said they were right there with us. And so, we've worked really hard to get the little amount of business to cover our operating costs.
Gotcha. Ginger, how about you? What's COVID done to your 2 establishments?
Well, off the hook, we purchased March 9th of 2020.
You're kidding.
No, so it was devastating right off the hop for us. That graphic you threw up at the beginning is a painful reminder of how much trouble we're actually in. And some of those permanently closed businesses are some of my friends, in the business. And what was announced today it's pathetic.
The word is pathetic, eh?
Yep. We didn't even get the grant that they were talking about at Off the Hook because we own the second business and we're considered an enterprise. So we're only going to get support for one of our restaurants and not the other. It's like saying you have a house at a cottage and now you're a real estate mogul.
Lorraine, start us off if you would. What has COVID-19 done to the homelessness issue that you were already dealing with?
I think COVID has actually shone a light on the shadows where our governments and policies have tried to hide homeless people. It's been clear during the pandemic that resources were hardly sufficient before the pandemic, and now this pandemic has really shown that these gaps have just been exacerbated. I think COVID comes at a time when the homelessness reality was in a state of emergency, as is the poison drug reality. So now we're living in this reality of like the triple threat of pandemics, and people are literally dying just trying to get housing somewhere.
Nadine, do you notice that there is more homelessness and harder to serve homeless people because of this pandemic?
Yes, there is. And because of the pandemic, I guess there's more help for the people. They put them up in hotels and everything like that.
And I guess you appreciate the fact that the governments have been prepared to do something on that.
Yes, I am. Very much.
But I presume there's going to be a time when putting up homeless people in hotels is no longer going to be an option. What then?
That's why they need to come up with more tiny homes community, like what Rondell did, and that will help.
Tell me what you mean when you say tiny homes. I heard you say that before, and I should have followed up then, but I'm going to follow up now.
Well, at where I am at the Lot 42 of Better 10 City, it's a tiny home community with tiny homes. We have 26 homes here at the moment.
And what's a tiny home?
It's an 8 by 10. It's kind of like a shed, but it's a tiny home, and that is what we're doing here to house the homeless people.
How many square feet would it be?
It's about 8 by 10.
So you're not kidding. It's tiny.
And I live in one of them.
Does it get the job done, though?
Yes, it does. It keeps you warm. It's just a safe place for you to be in. And you have your own key, and it's like it's home.
Okay. Reverend Dunn, how about you? Talk to us about whether or not COVID has made homelessness in southwestern Ontario look and feel different.
Well, I'll echo the statements made out of Toronto. What's happened is that I think all levels of government they knew about homelessness, but now it's much more prevalent. There's a light been shone on it, or the veil's been lifted, as it were. At one point during the first shutdown here in Windsor, Essex, we were the only kind of game in town in terms of, it was like a little bit of I was expecting tumbleweeds to go through past my window here. People experiencing homelessness really had nowhere to go outside of a couple of shelters here locally. So I think and I hope that we've learned some things from this, that it doesn't go away when we deem that the pandemic has been tackled, and I hope that we'll be able to say that someday. Things like tiny homes, for example, in Kitchener-Waterloo. I think everyone's been looking at that project. It takes political will. It takes government to say, okay, we know about zoning bylaws, but we're gonna help push these things through because they're necessary. We've been trying to build a new facility for the last couple of years. It's very difficult, and I think that this pandemic has opened up the eyes of people who say, look, there's a lot more homelessness, either hidden or visual, than we first anticipated.
I'm not going to assume that everybody has heard about it, so let's go through a bit of a point form here with some of the highlights of this plan. And Sheldon, I'll ask you if you would to bring the graphics up, and let's go through it point by point. The NDP would propose to implement Ontario's first ever comprehensive zero emissions vehicles strategy and support the move to eliminate internal combustion engine vehicles by the year 2035. They would offer incentives to Ontarians who purchase these zero emissions vehicles. They would give $600 for households to install EV charging stations at homes and require new homes to have vehicle charging capacity. They would retrofit existing buildings to be more energy efficient and ensure that all new buildings are as energy efficient as possible. The NDP says this would create 100,000 jobs over 8 years as part of the retrofit program alone. They would electrify the GO train network along an accelerated timeline to replace dirty diesel trains along all lines. There would be no expansion of Ontario's nuclear capacity until cost and waste storage issues are resolved. The cost of all this, they estimate at $40 billion, and they would pay for it this way. They would reintroduce to Ontario a cap-and-trade program, which would bring in $30 billion a year, and then sell green bonds for the rest to the tune of $10 billion. That's the Green New Democratic Deal, as outlined recently by Ontario's official opposition. Now, this is a very comprehensive plan. We've only put some of the highlights there. There's a lot more to it than that. Generally speaking, just before we go deep on this, Sarah, start us off here. General thoughts on what the NDP is trying to propose.
It's a good climate plan. I mean, we've been doing climate planning globally now for a number of years. And, the conversation has advanced significantly since we started talking about this, Steve, 5 years ago. It checks all the boxes. It deals with Ontario's major sources of emissions, which are buildings, transportation, heavy industry. It does, frankly, the level of effort that needs to get done.
Bruce, your view.
Nonsense on stilts, as Jeremy Bentham once said. This is describing the NDP's version of a socialist utopia that would actually be a nightmare. In a way, I think the NDP's attempt to transition us from a COVID emergency to a permanent climate emergency. It reads like it's been put together on the back of an envelope. It's not well costed. It's going to cost more than $40 billion. It's a little crazy.
I'm going to infer from that you disagree with Sarah.
Just a tad.
Just a tad. Gotcha. Okay, Angela, would you weigh in on this, please?
I think it's a very strong climate plan. It calls for the phase out of Ontario's gas-fired power plants. In stark contrast to Doug Ford's plan of ramping up gas 500%, it calls for more wind and solar power. It calls for more water power imports from Quebec and more conservation. And it's just taking us in a different direction than the existing Ford government plan, which is more nuclear and gas and less renewables and conservation.
Robin, I do want to take advantage of the fact that you used to work for the Competition Bureau, and I want to get your sense of either how robust or not its efforts are in this country on behalf of consumers. What's the verdict on that?
Well, I think that officers at the Competition Bureau and the Commissioner of the Competition Bureau, every day put in their best effort to try and protect and preserve competition in the country. I think a huge barrier that they face is our legislation. I think the efficiencies defense is just one example of how the Competition Bureau lacks the legislative tools it needs in order to protect competition. And I think we're increasingly out of step with competition legislations in other countries. I mean, back to the efficiencies defense to kind of harp on this. And another case of Superior Propane sometime in 2013, Superior Propane attempted to acquire another company that dealt with industrial chemicals. The deal was approved in Canada, but it was also reviewable in the United States. And when it was reviewed by the Federal Trade Commission in the US, it was challenged. And that just demonstrates how our law compares to the United States and how in a lot of ways it's stronger than what we have here. And that's actually not saying a whole lot, because there is increasingly awareness by economic scholars in the US that their competition approach is actually not as strong as it needs to be in order to promote competition. And the Washington Center for Equitable Growth has recently put together a database of about 150 economics papers. And a lot of these papers show empirical evidence that the lax competition enforcement approach of authorities in the US has led to higher prices and less competition. One paper that I find very compelling is a 2016 study that looks at mergers and acquisitions in the manufacturing sector. And the study shows that, in fact, most mergers lead to higher prices, which is kind of mind-boggling if you think that America has a system for preventing mergers that increase prices. And if we know that Canada's system, especially when it comes to mergers, is more lax than America's, then, I mean, for sure we have a problem. So I think, the core issue here is Canada's legislation and the need to modernize it, especially in this new digital era where competition issues are becoming more and more complex.
That's just some of what we covered this week on The Agenda. For more, including the full conversations, you can visit our website, tvo.org, our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theagenda, or our Twitter feed, twitter.com/theagenda.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.